Finally, the mainstream media has opened its eyes. Finally, the mainstream media, they are coming to the realization that the only way the WNBA is going to succeed is through Caitlin Clark. Finally, the media has recognized the jealousy and outright resentment that is prevalent throughout the WNBA dump. Have you been watching this channel, Stephen A. Smith? Executives at ESPN, executives at the worldwide leader in woke. Have you guys been watching me? This afternoon, my inbox was flooded with clips from this morning's episode of First Take. And the narratives that were being pushed on the show this morning, they sounded eerily similar to what I have been saying about the jealousy and resentment of Caitlin Clark by dump divers in the WNBA for months now. We were talking about the potential jealousy here on the channel before Katie Rue got fitted for her hard hat and steel-toed boots at the WNBA Combine. We were talking about the jealousy when Caitlin Clark was playing basketball professionally at Iowa. Matter of fact, the jealousy and resentment, those were two of the main reasons that I said Caitlin Clark should not enter the WNBA. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Earlier this morning, there was a spirited debate on First Take. This debate, it was somewhat surprising because ESPN was actually talking about the WNBA dump. Even though ESPN claims to be the proud home of dump diving, WNBA isn't really heavily featured on debate shows like First Take, Around the Horn, or PTI. The debate panel, it consisted of Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe. Hey, it's me, Shay Shay! There was an unknown woman on the panel. I guess since they were talking about the WNBA, a league filled with unknown players, ESPN thought it would be more relatable to have an anonymous representation on the panel. This lovely woman, I think her name was Martha McNutt. Maybe it was Veronica McDonald. Who cares? It doesn't matter what her name is. Rounding out the debate panel was Molly Karam, who surprisingly did her job well this morning by not saying a damn thing. Shay and A, along with Veronica, they were discussing the aggression towards Caitlin Clark this weekend from Kennedy Carter, Angel Reese, and the Chicago Bravado. For weeks, the mainstream media, they have tried to convince us that there's no jealousy and resentment towards Caitlin Clark in the dump. Those comments from Donna Taurasi during the Final Four, that wasn't unwarranted, uninformed criticism. That was love. Brianna Stewart, lead chef in the WNBA cafeteria. That special brie stew she made for Caitlin Clark with the addition of a laxative, that wasn't done out of jealousy and malice. Brie just wanted to make sure that Katie Rue was staying regular. This morning on First Take, ESPN finally allowed someone to admit on their network that WNBA players are jealous of Caitlin Clark. Watch for yourself.
Young ladies in the WNBA who are jealous of Caitlin Clark. She is a white girl that has come into the league. She has bursted onto the scene. She hasn't proven herself yet. It's not even about them thinking they're better than her because they probably know it at this particular juncture because they've been playing on a level she just arrived to. Where the resentment comes in is the hard work, the commitment, the dedication, the pounding of the pavement, the being on the grind, all of these years trying to uplift this brand that is the WNBA and is women's professional basketball. And all of their efforts were in vain until this girl comes along and takes the league by storm, takes the sport by storm in college, and has accomplished in a short period of time what they haven't been able to.
It should come as no surprise to this audience that I agree with damn near everything that Stephen A. Smith just said. Only part that I disagreed with was when Stevie called the WNBA professional basketball. That statement was surprising coming from Stevie. I mean, this dude has been covering the NBA for over 30 years. He might not know shit about fuck when it comes to the NFL, but Stephen A. Smith, He knows what professional basketball looks like. If you want to see professional basketball, watch ABC on Thursday night. If you want to see something that closely resembles basketball at the elementary level, watch the elite athletes in the WNBA. But other than that, I agreed with everything that Stephen A. Smith said. Like I said earlier, we have been saying the exact same thing here on the channel for months now. Stephen A. said that WNBA players should appreciate Caitlin Clark. Thanks to Katie Rue, the WNBA is seeing a level of mainstream exposure that they haven't seen in 3 decades. Thanks to Katie Rue, there are people in arenas and high school gyms capable of breathing on their own, instead of the usual cardboard cutouts we typically see at WNBA games. Thanks to Caitlin Clark, WNBA players, they no longer have to go through security at the airport. Players like Bob Griner no longer have to worry about forgetting about the dime sack in their fanny pack located next to the bottle of Just for Men. In less than 4 weeks, Caitlin Clark has completely transformed life in the WNBA. Something that thousands of other players were unable to accomplish in the last 3 decades. I understand Stevie's confusion. I understand why you would be confused about the lack of appreciation in the WNBA, but you gotta remember, the reason WNBA players aren't appreciative of Caitlin Clark, they think they are entitled to everything I just said. Add that sense of entitlement to the feelings of bitterness and jealousy, and you have the recipe for disaster that we are seeing right now in the dump. Yesterday, we briefly talked about Angel Reese celebrating Kennedy Carter after she aggressively hip-checked Caitlin Clark. Now, you are never going to see Angel Reese do something like that herself. Remember a couple of months ago when the ladies from LSU were fighting with, I think they were fighting players from South Carolina. Remember what Angel Reese was doing during the fight? She hauled ass to the bathroom. Now, most people thought she was running away from the fight, but my inside sources tell me Angel Reese, she wanted to utilize the bathroom with running water one last time. She knew once she entered the WNBA, it was either the outhouse or the porta potties. Angel Reese, though, she would never display her jealousy of Caitlin Clark by going after her on the court, but she had absolutely no problem celebrating Kennedy Carter for doing so. After the game Saturday, Angel Reese, she refused to speak with the media. WNBA Commissioner Kat Engelbert, she punished Angel Reese by fining her $1,000. I know that doesn't sound like much, but when you are making minimum wage in the WNBA, $1,000, that's equivalent to a month's salary. Angel Reese still hasn't commented publicly on her behavior, but she did like a tweet from someone named Lonnie who tweeted about the incident with Caitlin Clark. Apparently, Lonnie works the dump in Dallas. She is a member of the Dallas Wankers. Yesterday, Lonnie tweeted about the incident with Caitlin Clark and promoted the positive message of girl power. One thing about me, girl, I'm always cheering for the next girl. I love to see my girlies doing their thing. Angel Reese liked the tweet, but she's not jealous of Caitlin Clark. No. There's no jealousy and resentment between Angel Reese and Katie Rue. I mean, why would Angel Reese be jealous? It's not like she has been completely overshadowed by the star power of Caitlin Clark. It's not like the only time the WNBA puts her on national television is when she is playing against the Indiana Felines. It's not like Angel Reese is quickly being forgotten. There's no reason for Angel Reese to be jealous of Caitlin Clark. Towards the end of the segment on First Take this morning, the conversation briefly shifted away from the WNBA, kind of. It shifted towards who was the biggest victim. Are women bigger victims? Are black men more victimized than women? Oh, I just don't know. There are so many victims to choose from. During the conversation, Stephen A. Smith, he made a crucial mistake. Now, I don't blame him for making this mistake because Stevie has never been married, but any man who has experience living with a woman, they know you never, ever, 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 ever make this mistake. Stephen A. Smith made the crucial mistake of arguing with a woman, and he dealt with the consequences, which in this case was a lecture from Veronica or Monica or whatever the hell her name is. Watch for yourself.
Welcome to the world of being a woman, Stephen A., and how you have to dance about your word choice and you have to please everybody and anybody as you navigate your being. We are talking about the world's greatest
How about being a black man?
Being black. Hold on 1 second.
Have you?
So this is what I'm saying to y'all, though, and I know we got to go to break, and we didn't necessarily go there, and maybe we should. There are so many layers in this conversation around the way that it's being discussed. When you no, and yes, Shannon, I know y'all are gonna say you know, and Stephen A., I know you just shared that you have talked about the WNBA on your program too. You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level.
All right.
Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Wow.
All right, we got to go.
Who does more than
Stephen
us?
A., I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Stevie, let Casey give you some valuable advice. Do not argue with women. As you probably figured out this morning, you come out of the argument a two-time loser. Not only do you lose the argument, you also lose your sanity trying to figure out what the hell you're even arguing about. Now, in all fairness to Veronica, the premise of her argument is probably right. I don't watch First Take on a daily basis, but I do watch a lot of their clips here on YouTube. I also watch Stephen A.'s channel here on YouTube. Rarely, if ever, do I hear Stevie talking about the WNBA outside of Caitlin Clark. And look, I don't blame him. You see, what Veronica and other WNBA players are having a difficult time understanding, no one gives a shit about the WNBA. No one cares. ESPN doesn't care. Stephen A. Smith doesn't care. Shannon Sharp and the Lonely Men and Club Shay Shay, they don't care. No one cares about the dump. People care about Caitlin Clark. She is the only reason that people are paying attention. And I meant what I said yesterday. I was not exaggerating. That was not hyperbole. Unless something drastically changes, if I were advising Caitlin Clark, I would tell her to get the hell out of the WNBA. It would only be temporary. She wouldn't have to leave for very long. It is amazing how much people appreciate something when they no longer have it. Let WNBA dump divers fend for themselves. Tell Angel Reese to go out and draw 1 million viewers on ESPN. Tell Kennedy Carter go sell out arenas. Hell, let's lower the expectation for Kennedy Carter since she was unknown before Saturday and will be forgotten by next week. The expectation for Kennedy Carter will be selling out the rec room at the local YMCA, or as they call it in the WNBA, LGBT. Let's see if the WNBA can succeed without Caitlin Clark. Now, of course, we already know the answer. We have 3 decades that tells us it's impossible. Now, unfortunately for Caitlin Clark, I don't think things are going to get better. Now she is being portrayed as the victim, and rightfully so by the media. That is not going to stop the jealousy. If anything, I think it's going to get worse. The WNBA is going to continue to self-destruct. But give me your thoughts on this. ESPN finally admits that WNBA players are jealous of Caitlin Clark. Now that she is being victimized by the mainstream media, do you think things get better for Katie Rue in the WNBA, or do you agree with me and you think things are going to get worse? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.